Welcome to the It's Your Fate podcast. Conversations to guide your steps and light your path in deciding your definite major purpose. I'm your host, Lefford Fate. Hello, this is Lefford Fate, and in this series of 17 podcast episodes, which is hosted by my good friend and colleague Mike Saunders, you're going to learn about the principles to a positive mental attitude.
Welcome back. Today we have with us Napoleon Hill certified leader Sandra Valencia, and we're talking today about principle number 15, which is maintenance of sound health. Sandra, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for having me today.
Hey, I'm really excited about talking about this principle because I think this is so important, and so many times people feel like I'm busy with life and personal and business, and the thing that gets put to the back burner and sometimes never taken care of is your own health. So give us a little bit of a summary of what this principle is and why is it relevant for today?
Okay, well, maintain sound health is such an important principle these days because there are so many diseases and illnesses that are happening recently, and this is all due to not having a mind and body health consciousness. And what I mean by mind and body health consciousness is that people don't have any. Not everyone, but people don't have a definite purpose or a goal in life of something that they look forward, except to perhaps going to work and coming home and watch TV and living this kind of life, so sedentary. I'm not saying everyone does the same thing, but a big percentage of population do these very passive activities. And that can create problems. So it will start fear and anxiety and worries because they don't have anything that excites them or make them feel motivated, something to look forward with a specific target on goals. So that's basically why this principle is so relevant in today's society. You know, there's so many diseases, and I'm not saying every disease is due, or illnesses is due to lack of having a definite purpose, but many of the diseases is due to fear and I'm repeating myself, worries and anxiety.
Yeah, you know, we could probably talk for hours and hours on all of the scientific research of having a sound health plan. And what I would like to just clarify is this: it doesn't matter where you're starting from. If you're not in good health, you don't need to start doing things, 6 days a week of going to the gym. Just start small. Is that kind of what you advise people to do as well when they start addressing their health?
Absolutely. Yeah, you need to start by little, like doing a small exercise gradually, perhaps 1 or 2 a week, and choosing the right meals and keeping a positive mental attitude. So I think this is a good segue to talk a little bit about why the mind and body are sort of connected in terms of if you don't have a positive mental attitude and you don't have a definite purpose, then that's where you fall into having perhaps diseases. But yes, absolutely, you're right.
I feel like
gradually.
That tends to be almost a misconception when you think about maintaining sound health, because I think people focus on just the health side of it, your body.
Absolutely.
And you're bringing up something that with the mental approach, that might be a misconception of people. So can you clarify that for us?
Yes, absolutely. So basically, the misconception is that sound health is the absence of symptoms of illnesses. And that's the misconception. But in reality, sound health is a positive state of well-being that encompasses the body, the mind, emotions, and all relationships. So that's the whole. It's mind and body connected. If I have a resentment, I live by hating people, if I don't have a positive mental attitude in all my relationships and about everything, then things start falling apart, and consequently, this state of mind that are so negative, it will eventually will transfer in a physical aspect and providing some sort of disease.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. I feel like so many people that have things put together right now weren't always that way. So did you find the time in your life where you were not focusing on maintaining sound health? And then when you started focusing on that, what kind of positive changes did you see in your life?
Oh my God. I have an amazing example because a year ago, basically, I went to the Napoleon Hill worldwide certified leader certification. And then at that moment, I was weighing I'm going to tell you, I should not be telling, but I guess like almost 70 pounds. And then during that moment, I've always been very motivated about Napoleon Hill, and I talk to you about that a little later. But then I was overweight, and then after that moment, this has been a year ago, I went to the Napoleon Hill, and then I decided that I was going to change my lifestyle. So I understood that focusing on and being motivated, what was really my motivation to be able to lose the weight? It wasn't only why I wanted to lose weight. So I asked a question, why I wanted to lose weight. What motivates me? So I realized, well, I want to feel healthy. Want to have more flexibility, and I want to look and feel thinner and better. So I really established a short-term goal. They talk about, Napoleon Hill philosophy talks about a definite purpose, but people can start, as you said earlier, you can start by little and do a short-term goal. And my short-term goal was like a 3-month short-term goal, and I really established a plan, a very detailed plan, which I might be able to share in this write-up, like the template, what I use, and then what I was going to eat, what I was going to give up during that period, and my exercise plan, and so on, and a target date. So that keeps me very motivated, and I certainly lose, I'm going to tell you, 25 pounds.
Nice.
So, yeah, I did. And I'm maintaining it because I did it gradually. So as you can imagine, I mean, another principle that is very key aspect in maintaining sound health is self-discipline. And so that's really helped me a lot. And self-discipline is basically, willpower and to be able to maintain this. And it's forever. It's not just a year thing, but it's just being able to do it. So I changed completely everything.
You said something that was really interesting that I want to pause on, because I think it's helpful not only for this principle, but for every single one of them. And that's the word gradual. So if you're not where you want to be in any of the principles, but we're talking now about maintaining sound health, you spent 10 or 15 years gaining that weight, or you spent 5 years not being in the shape you're in, or whatever your personal situation may be, well, you can't get there in 30 days or 60 days.
Absolutely.
So I think that becomes a factor that frustrates people. But in reality, if you just realize how long did it take you to get into that condition, it might not take you that long to get out of it, but it certainly will be gradual. So speak to that a little bit and how gradual and self-discipline tie together.
Thank you so much. Actually, I have thought about this very much in a sense that I understand, because I also want to become fitted. And I realize, and I'm being very patient, as being patient with yourself. Because you realize, as you just said, it took me 2 years or 3 years, because that happens to me in approximately 2-3 years, due to stress, and I'm going to talk about my action plan later, and it was due to stress to gain all this weight. So in a year, I'm being able to lose 25 pounds, and I want to lose 10 more. And I want to be fitted. So I know, I'm constantly telling myself, I look at the mirror myself and I say, wow, Sandra, you have done a great job. I motivate myself, but I need to understand when I'm exercises that in order to be fitted, I have to do a lot of exercise, and it's not going to happen overnight. If I gain that weight in 2-3 years, I'm not going to lose it in a year and become thinner again and be fitted. So you're absolutely right. It has to be gradually changed. Nothing can be done overnight. And if you do it gradually, then you will be more successful in being able to achieve your goal.
Exactly. That's a really, really good point. Hey, you mentioned your personal success. Can you think of an example where maybe you've worked with a client or a friend on the same type of principle of maintaining or starting their health regimen?
Okay. I guess in terms of personal aspect, I have a very successful, I would say, story at this point, and that's basically at home with my mother. My mother, basically, she, for the last couple of years, she had like 3 spinal cord surgeries, and I have been applying this principle amazingly in her life in the 2 aspects. In aspect of eating, changing her eating habits and making sure she loses weight, because she was a little overweight, and losing the weight was going to help with inflammation and of course her self-esteem and different aspects as her health. And in the other side, the one that I've been working mostly is her mind. And I'm really focusing. I do that a lot for her as well as for me. I like to talk about a little. I know we're trying to focus a little bit on the physical aspect, but I like to talk about the mind aspect, because that is really tied to the physical, to the body. So I've been working with her a lot with I don't know if you have heard, and this is discussing the Napoleon Hill. There is this psychology. His last name is Coe, Coue. And he developed this affirmation, basically, or he called it methodology, to be able to impact the life of many people. And that's basically based on affirmations and daily repetition. So I work with my mom, and I do it myself all the time. I'm better every day in every way. Mm-hmm. So this is helping with the mind and body connection. So I've been talking to my mother and looking at examples in history about people that are disabled and have different kind of disabilities. It basically, I make a very difficult comparison, which is very hard for my mother, but she's basically, her legs are completely numb. And she walks. She walks with the walker. She doesn't use her legs, and she walks. So I basically walk on her, and I said, look, listen, at this point, nobody's going to be able to help you, because in terms of doctors and, what they can do, they did what they could do. So at this point, you need to take up responsibility for your health, and you need to work with yourself and be able to tell yourself, I'm better every day in every way. So it means, mother, you're taking a responsibility of your body, and you're telling your body and that your body is going to get better and better every day. So this psychologist, he basically used this through the years, and they even use it at prisons, and this was very successful. Doctors were really hesitant about this, but they were able to prove that this really worked. So, and they talk. I'm not sure if I have time to talk a little bit about the subconscious mind, but this goes into the fact that you repeat yourself so many times and during the day about this, that eventually your body or your subconscious mind will believe it. Even if it's true or not, the body will believe it.
Yeah, and that's the point of the mind-body connection. So
that's right.
I think that takes us right back to that misconception is people think if I'm maintaining sound health, that's my body. But if you don't believe you can maintain sound health, or you're telling yourself, I never can get fit or never can lose weight, then that mind connection is working against you. So that's a really, really great point.
Very powerful.
You mentioned you became a Napoleon Hill certified leader pretty recently. What was it that inspired you to do that? And what words of encouragement would you tell others that might be thinking of the same thing? Okay,
yeah. What really inspired me to become a Napoleon Hill certified leader, it was many years ago, perhaps 3 years ago. the first time I read Think and Grow Rich. And then I read that book, and it caught my attention, the focus on having a definite purpose in life, and the ability to understand that if you can help other people, then that will your life will be more fulfilled. So that caught my attention, and I started to get motivated in going into the program. And then when I took the first, the program has 3 steps. So when I took the first step of the program, it was to listen all the Napoleon Hill lectures, live lectures, and it was like a presentations or audios. And he said in one of his speeches, he said, I want all of you to be able to carry my mission and spread it all over the world. So I said, I'm going to be one. I'm going to be one. So I really got very excited about going into the program, and then decided to take the formal training, and also realizing that that I had formal education, meaning going to college and getting a degree, but definitely that's something that people need to keep in mind. College, academia, it doesn't teach you what Napoleon Hill principle of success teach you. This is basically personal development, and we will not get anywhere if we don't develop those personal skills to be able to interact with our family, to improve our relationships, to be able to be positive, and to interact with all our surroundings, with anybody that we encounter in our life.
Wow, that's really good. Hey, let's wrap this up with one last piece, because I feel like if people hear maintaining sound health and all of the things we've talked about, they might feel like, where do I start? So what would you say is the 5-step implementation plan for getting this principle into action?
Okay, I developed like a little framework on what would be the actions plan. So the first one is express gratitude daily and meditate. So I think you can meditate, and at the same time, you can meditate in 5 to 10 minutes, and there are many instructions on how to do that out there in YouTube, so anybody can find that information over there. So within the meditation, express gratitude on a daily basis, and that will help with having a positive mental attitude. So giving thanks for what you have, and not only for what you have, but also what you want to have. Like, for example, sure, I'm thankful for something else, then you just give thanks for the things that you want to have. So you do that daily. That will help. All these 5 steps that I'm going to mention, all that will help with the mind, body, health consciousness. So the second one is daily affirmations. Daily affirmations are very critical, and I've been doing this for years. And it's basically, for example, daily affirmation, it helps with one of the most negative things for a human being, which is fear. We're fear about everything. So, for example, a daily affirmation will be to say, I'm trying to improve on my speaking skills, so I repeat all the time, I'm a great speaker. I'm a great speaker. So I'll do this many times, ideally daily. And then what does it help for? How does it improve mind and body health consciousness? So I have like a little, this one will help you with your fears and with all your worries. You're repeating yourself, you're telling your subconscious, I'm good at this, I'm good at this. So it will get to yourself to the point that you're so confident that you will really be successful in being a great speaker. So the third one, which is very critical for maintain mind and body sound health, is definite purpose. I think that term is very, let's talk about better, set goals. That's more simple for the general public. Set short goals. And as you mentioned earlier, do it gradually. Short goals. I did a goal for 3 months, and I was able to achieve it. I was motivated. Set a goal that motivates you, excites you, and do a detailed plan. Because if you have a detailed plan, a structured and organized plan, then that will help with what? With anxiety. So that will help with anxiety. And the last one, the last 4 and 5 items, I combine basically choose the right meals, exercise routine, and do intermittent fasting. And I talk about intermittent fasting. That was the last thing that I would talk about. Napoleon Hill talks about doing intermittent fasting twice a year for 10 days. That's too much. He says he's not a doctor, and I will say the same thing, but I've been doing, in addition to what I have established to maintain sound health, mind sound health, intermittent fasting, which is just a little different. People can search about it in YouTube. There are many videos, and many doctors are talking about this. So that's basically what my action plan will be.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sandra. Hey, listen, what is the best way that people could reach out and learn more about you and connect with you?
Yes, they can reach me in Facebook as Sandra Valencia. There are so many Sandra Valencias out there, but in my Facebook page, I have there is a relationship with the Napoleon Hill Foundation and the fact that we're worldwide Napoleon Hill certified leaders.
Okay, good. Very good. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on and talking through this principle today. It's really wonderful.
Well, thank you so much, Mike. Thank you for having me today.
You've been listening to the It's Your Fate podcast. To connect with me and pick up a copy of one of my books, please visit www.leffordfate.com. That's leffordfate.com. You've met your fate. Now let's walk into your destiny.